Yo, what's up, gang? Sorry we're running a little late tonight.
Hey guys, sorry about my hair, but you're all.
Yeah, they're all talking about
My hair's gonna be a nightmare tonight, and I'll be messing with it all night. Hope everybody had a good week. We are having a pretty good week, and looking forward to the start of summer, and just playing with the kids, having fun. Watching them grow. Hopefully getting to the beach a couple times this year. Can't wait to get them out on to the beach. And Lane's going to be insane on the beach. I know he is. He's going to be so excited. But just trying to get things cleaned up and starting the summer off. Little barbecues here and there. Friends coming over. Tomorrow night's going to be a good night. We're going to be remembering a friend of ours that died this year. And we're doing a paint party because that's one of the things we used to do together. We used to go to the flower show, the paint party, and just have fun. So tomorrow night will be my first time hosting a paint party. So that should be fun. We're painting the last sunset she took a picture of, so that's pretty cool. Yes, Eric, that is one of Richard's buddies. I think Green Lane is the band, I believe. So I'm glad you got your coffee in there, Lar. Yes. Because COVID is no longer a thing, life is starting to go back to normal again, as normal as life can be. At $2.29 a candy bar, that won't be happening in my life. That's ridiculous. What's the other thing? Oh, the dollar store. The dollar store is no longer the $1.25 store. It's now the $1.25 and up store. I'm like freaking out. This is just, it's insane. This is nuts.
I don't know. Almost $6 for a jar of mayonnaise. That's what I saw the other day. I don't get into the supermarket and go, how much? Holy mackerel, Andy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. They are gouging the shit out of our country right now. It really sucks. Hey, Barb's in the house, Eric's in the house, Larry's in the house.
You better get it moving. Barb's going to have to go to bed in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a few people in the hiding back there,
we got
too.
a late start tonight. Our engineer's got new hours. We don't know what we're going to do yet.
Right.
I'm going to make some changes.
Yeah, we may have to change the night. We may have to change hours.
I don't think the hours are going to work any later. We might have to change it to Thursdays.
Yeah, so, we can't change them to Wednesdays, so we're going to have to change them to Thursdays. So, I'm glad everybody's here. It is hot in here. Even with the air going, it's hot.
It was hot today.
It was hot.
It was so hot, I seen 2 trees fighting over a dog. I kid you not.
So we're going to keep going on the way we have been the last few weeks with Smart Recovery. It's just an amazing tool and amazing exercises that we can do with our loved ones. If you are interested in what you're seeing, you can also go to smartrecovery.org, go into resources, go down to shop or store, and if you are a family member or a friend of somebody that is in recovery or active, check out the Family and Friends. They also have the Smart Recovery for those who are active, those who are in recovery. So I just did this program last year and got certified, but I really think it's a really cool tool for us family members and for those that are struggling with, still active or in recovery and just need to stay connected. So, this week we're on section 3. It's called Inner Dialogue, Managing Feelings. The book Get Your Loved Ones Sober, Alternatives to Nagging, Pleading, and Threatening is based on the scientifically validated CRAFT, Community Reinforcement and Family Training Model. It provides guidance that you can use to recognize how you and your loved one interact and to help you change any unhelpful patterns in order to achieve healthier and happier results. Get Your Loved Ones Sober advises family and friends to remain calm, avoid losing their temper, and avoid catastrophizing or awfulizing situations in order to interact with their loved one in a non-confrontational way. And you know, since we started this, I have been talking about how important it is to, not be confrontational with our loved ones, and how to step back and how to reapproach something that you're really struggling with. So that's really important for us to learn. And it's not easy. It's, it takes practice, and it takes a lot of practice. So this can be quite challenging for family and friends who have developed habitual patterns of thinking and interacting with their loved one that get in the way of calm and non-confrontational conversations. In this section, you will find tools that can help you to remain calm and matter of fact in situations where you may previously have found yourself becoming frustrated or angry. You will also find an introduction to Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, REBT. REBT
a lot of acronyms in this recovery
it is. There
business.
is a lot.
Like the military.
And I will struggle with them, trust me, because there's a lot. REBT is central to many smart recovery concepts. So, if you're new to this, again, we're doing smart recovery. I'm just going over what I have learned, and I'm just giving you the tool that I had learned in taking the course, and hoping that this is helping everyone out there. And this is going to be like a 14-week thing. So we'll be doing this for the next 14 weeks unless something, exciting or phenomenal happens, and we have to talk about, something that's out there. I also want anybody that is out there, if you have any questions, if you want to ask for any information, please pop it into the comments or give us a call. I'm going to try and get through this because we're only here till 11 tonight because he also has a band coming. So,
all right, the band that was just in that prelude there, Eric, is coming in tonight.
So it's, we're going to try and work it out so that we can get back to the hour and a half, and maybe it'll have to be maybe a little bit earlier on a Thursday. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what's happening. So we have talked previously about this, but it's the exchange vocabulary. And this is like the most helpful thing that I had learned, to actually see it in black and white and understand it. It's pretty cool. So I have here exchange vocabulary. Upset feelings are usually caused by the way we are thinking about what is happening, not the events themselves. To change your feelings and your behavior, try the following exchange vocabulary. This idea was given to me by a client who related it to an exchange list for unhealthy foods. When you first try this new way of thinking, it might not feel right. The more you do it, however, the more natural these realistic beliefs will become. I think you will like the results, but prove it for yourself by giving it a fair try. So I'm going to try and, hey Marge, I'm going to try and go through this quickly so that we can get through this. So word exchange table. And it's instead of thinking the way that our normal thought process is, like must, should, have to, can't, ought, all, always, can't stand, awful, bad person, I'm a failure. These are the bad, not bad, but the typical way that we normally react when we're dealing with our loved one who is active. And then we have to try thinking. So instead of using must, we're going to use prefer. I prefer you not to come home trashed, high, dipping out. Should. Choose to. You should choose to, or I wouldn't say you. I choose to live in the house without people coming in, trash, dipping out, whatever. So this is the way we have to look at these, the words that we use for our loved ones. So it's not confrontational. Have to, want. I want to live in a quiet, calm environment. Can't. I choose not to. Ought. Had better. All. Many. Can't stand. Don't like. Awful. Highly undesirable. Bad person. Bad behavior. I'm a failure. I failed at. I'm a failure. No, I failed at because I didn't give it enough time. It's not something that I'm comfortable with. It's not something that I like to do. So look at it that way when we're talking to our loved ones. So here are some statement exchange table. Instead of saying, I have to do well, look at it as, I want to do well. You shouldn't do that. I prefer you not to do that. You never help me. You rarely help me. I can't stand my job. I don't like my job. You're a bad boy. That behavior is undesirable. I'm a loser. I failed at this one task. I need love. I want love, but I don't need it. So emotional vocabulary exchange, REBT, does not endeavor or eliminate emotions. Quite to the contrary, emotions are very useful and part of the human advantage when appropriate. So instead of saying I'm anxious, I'm concerned. Instead of saying depressed, I'm sad. Angry, annoyed. Guilt, remorse. Shame, regret. Hurt, disappointed. Jealous, concern for my relationship. So these are just examples of some of the things that we can do in our daily life to, change the way we communicate with anybody in our lives, not just our loved one that is active or in recovery, or somebody that is active or in recovery and talking to their loved one. Here comes Hellchild.
Somebody got his way.
He has to be out here in the studio. He cracks me up. He loves his daddy. So, these are just some of the things. So when you are in a situation where you have to, talk with your loved one or communicate with anybody, try and think of, especially if okay, they're out and they're at the bar, Okay, how am I going to approach them when they get in? So think about some of the things that you normally, go through with your loved one, and try and think of some things that you can change in that conversation. So, anti-awfulizing. So, how awful is awful? How terrible is terrible? It is helpful to put events into perspective, to actively and forcefully expand or focus to see life's realistically. We often say something is awful and get a feeling that it is more than 100% bad. But how can anything be more than 100%? We say we can't stand it, but yet we do. So let's take these facts and begin to manage our thoughts and perspectives, and as a result, directly manage our feelings and behaviors as well. We are not suggesting that you sugarcoat or minimize the situation. There is real distress and discomfort in this world. Recognition of this real distress is important. So what are we saying? What we are saying is, while recognizing the real distress in a situation is to also, at the same time, recognize very clearly and very factually where that situation lies in the spectrum of distress, and to recognize that we can stand it. So here's a tool to realize the reality. So you're first going to do the chart 0 to 100. Do it in tens. First, rate your existing situation on a scale of 0 to 100% bad. Secondly, ask yourself, how terrible is it? Could it get worse? Is it really as frequent as it feels? How long will it really last? Can I stand this? Staff, this is Smart Recovery, Family and Friends. They also have it for Smart Recovery for those that are in recovery. So it's kind of like when you are in this situation, it's like they say, play out the tape. So now for a bit of perspective, is it as bad as a hurricane or an earthquake, or say as bad as a famine or war? And finally, for an antidote, is there nothing occurring at the same time that is good? Is there nothing I can do to make something good happen? It is in these simple and factual ways that we realistically manage and develop a reality-based perspective on life. So, Barb says, my family feels I'm bipolar, so they want me to see a psychiatrist, and right away I'm thinking medication. What is wrong with me? So, it's really looking at where we're at in the situation, and and try to minimize the awfulizing of it and the catastrophizing, and thinking, okay, so this is happening now. What can I do to really turn it around, or see how it's not going to affect me for however long you may think it will. So it's important that we use these tools to see that, things aren't always as bad as we think they are. So, So, you know, take those into consideration and take that playing out the tape to think about that. And Barb, you know, it's, you know, and play it out. Like, is it you that is, you know, snapping at the drop of a hat? Or is it the situation that you're in that's causing that? So, and there's nothing wrong with going to talk to a therapist, going to talk to a psychiatrist, for it's your own mental health. And you may even find out that it's just, you know, what's going on around you that's causing that. You're not numbing it anymore with, you know, alcohol. So, I would definitely look into it, see what's going on, and be able to come back and say, listen, you know, the therapist, the psychiatrist feels that I'm fine, and it's just the idiots around me. You know, I mean,
People like to throw diagnoses out there at you. What makes them to be able to diagnose you with any type of condition just based on their observation?
mm-hmm.
You could be just depressed, Barb. You know, we're all depressed. You know, it's simple as that. I mean, I wouldn't get too worried about things. I mean, talk to a doctor. I mean, to put your own mind at ease. You know, if
Yeah.
anything.
Exactly.
Like Lori says now, you're not numbing things no more. So you're dealing with life on life's terms.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, things may be bothering you a little more now, you know, that you're not numbing the feelings, and that's to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but, yeah, I mean, to put your own mind at ease, I mean, you know, people are very apprehensive when it comes to talking to a psychiatrist. They're worried about it. You know, a lot of stigmatism around that and all. And, I mean, the guy's not going to tell you you're nuts, Barb. You're not.
Right. And if he does, there's, you know, tools that you can use. Like,
And medication is like the last resort.
right.
I mean, the first medication is just talking about it to him and getting things off your chest, and that in itself may help you. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go on a medication.
And it's, you know what, and it can be, you know, it can be something, and you may need to have medication, you know, and that's not saying that, you know, you're abusing or whatever.
Right.
Not everybody in recovery, you know, can go by without some type of medication. So, hello, Terror. So, you know, let the professionals, you know, guide you through that, guide you where you need to be, or point out that, you know, the people in your life need to get their shit together so that you're not snapping. So, you know, you know, that's what you need to do.
You know, there's nothing more annoying than being around people drinking when you don't drink yourself. Take it from a DJ. I'm around people like that all the time. And they can become very irritating and get you on edge.
Thanks,
And
Stephanie.
I know they get me on edge, and then they start hounding me over the same questions. Oh my gosh! And you got to bite your tongue and just take it all in. But I mean, I can feel myself like building up.
Mm-hmm.
You know. That itself, maybe that's your problem. Maybe they all got to stop drinking just to give you some peace of mind.
Exactly.
Maybe they're just annoying. You know, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not a doctor. I just play one on this show.
Exactly. So, resisting invitations to guilt and self-blame. It is common for people in a close relationship with someone who has a drug and or alcohol dependency to blame themselves and feel guilty about their loved one's behavior. This is particularly common for parents and partners, but can also strike other family members or close friends. There can be subtle and not so subtle invitations to take the blame for your loved one's drinking or drug use, either from your loved one, from those around you, or from yourself. Sometimes these invitations are in the form of your loved one making comments such as, "If you don't nag me so much, I wouldn't need a drink." They can also come from you thinking thoughts such as, "If only I could be more helpful, husband, wife, mother, son, my loved one would stop drinking." It is normal to have regrets and wish that you could have done things differently in life. However, excessive guilt and self-blame can be crippling force in your own life and damaging to your relationship with your loved one. Beating yourself up about any mistakes you have made and taking on the blame for your loved one's self-destructive behavior can have the following effects: leave you feeling stuck and helpless, unable to move forward in your own life. Lead you to put up with behavior that is not acceptable and keep you from setting limits and standing up for your own rights. This is not helpful for you or your loved one. Encourage you to become overly responsible for your loved one, thus preventing him from taking responsibility for himself, herself. Leave you open to being manipulated by your loved one, which again is not helpful to you or to him or her. Leave you open to getting sick yourself. Many physical and mental health problems are associated with the stresses experienced by family and friends who have a loved one with an addiction, burnout, depression, anxiety, heart disease, etc. There's no problem so awful that you can't add some guilt to it and make it even worse. By Bill Watterson. So, that is, one of the biggest things that we do is the self-blame. We do. But that is something that we do with our loved ones who are struggling. So if you guys have any questions or want us to expand on anything or throw in a suggestion that we may have dealt with, feel free to give us a call in at 267-737-8031 or pop it in the comments. And we're just going to keep going. So, ideas for letting go of guilt and self-blame. Ask yourself, is it really my fault? Objectively, you cannot cause another person to drink or take drugs. Everybody responds to life stressors differently, and your loved one has responded by drinking and or taking drugs. Remind yourself that no one is perfect. You have probably done the best you could in the circumstances. Think about all other influences on your loved one's life that are outside of your control. These include genetics, peer group, social influences, media, etc. Can you go on? Can you read the next one? Remind yourself.
Remind yourself that you also are a product of your own set of circumstances and influences. Try to view yourself with compassion rather than judgment. If you find this difficult, try thinking of yourself as your own best friend. If your friend was in your shoes, how would you respond to the situation? Would you blame the friend for their loved one's addiction? Remind yourself that continuing to feel guilt and self-blame does not help the situation and may even be making it worse.
What are you doing? Now where do you go?
If appropriate, make amends by apologizing for any hurt you may have caused in the past and talk about how things can be different in the future. My mom always said, you got to put the past behind you before you can move on. Forrest Gump.
And that
Thanks,
is true.
Forrest.
And that is true because, just bringing up the past constantly never gives you that chance to move forward. You're always trying to, forgive yourself because We have to forgive ourselves, especially if we are active and not really knowing what we're doing. So that's important. Identifying invitations to guilt and self-blame. Can you identify any invitations to guilt and self-blame, either from your loved one, from those around you, or from yourself? So these are just little exercises that you can do. How much influence has guilt and self-blame had over your relationship with your loved one? How could things be different if you were able to let go of feeling guilt and self-blame? What would help you to let go of guilt and self-blame? So, the thing that I like most about this book is the way that it really gives you the exercises, because putting it in black and white is so helpful. And when you're struggling with different situations, you can always go back and, this is what I did in the past and it didn't help me. So what do I need to do differently? And that's with the nothing changes if nothing changes. So, consider that. Putting it in black and white is so helpful. And putting it in columns. This is what I used to do. This is what I need to do. And where am I at with what I am trying to accomplish? So try that and see how that helps you out, because that is really important to get all of that stuff out of your conscious or whatever. It's just, you need to get rid of it. So who controls you? How rational emotive behavior therapy can help you change unwanted emotions and behaviors, by Wayne Froggatt. Most people want to be happy. They would like to feel good, avoid pain, and achieve their goals. For many, though, happiness seems to be an elusive dream. In fact, it appears that we humans are much better at disturbing and defeating ourselves instead of feeling good. We are more pitying. We get jealous, angry, hostile, and bitter, or suffer anxiety, tension, and panic. On top of feeling bad, we often act in self-destructive ways. Some strive to be perfect in everything they do. Many mess up relationships. Others worry about disapproval and let people use them as doormats. Still others compulsively gamble, smoke, and overspend, or abuse alcohol, drugs, and food. Some even try to end it all. The strange thing is, most of this pain is avoidable. We don't have to do it ourselves. Humans can, believe it or not, learn how to choose how they feel and behave. As you think, so you feel. People feel disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Ancient words from a first century philosopher named Epictetus. Whatever his name is.
I think it's Epictetus.
Epictetus. But they are just as true now. Events and circumstances do not cause your reactions. They result from what you tell yourself about the things that happen. Put simply, thoughts cause feelings and behaviors. Or more precisely, events and circumstances serve to trigger thoughts, which then create reactions. These three processes are intertwined. The past is significant, but only insofar as it leaves you with your current attitudes and beliefs. External events, whether in the past, present, or future, cannot influence the way you feel or behave until you become aware of and begin to think about them. To fear something or react in any other way, you have to be thinking about it. The cause is not the event, It's what you tell yourself about the event. Like, this is so, like, it's so cool. Like, the way it gets you thinking and changing your thought process. The ABCs of feelings and behaviors. American psychologist Albert Ellis, the originator of rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT, was one of the first to systematically show how beliefs determine the way human beings feel and behave. Dr. Ellis developed the ABC model to demonstrate this. A refers to whatever started things off, a circumstance, event, or experience, or just thinking about something which has happened. This triggers off thoughts B, which in turn create a reaction, feelings, and behaviors C. To see this in operation, let's meet Alan, a young man who had always tended to doubt himself. Alan imagined that other people did not like him, and that they were only friendly because they pitied him. One day a friend passed him in the street without returning his greeting, to which Alan reacted negatively. Here is the event, Alan's belief and his reaction put into the ABC format. A. What started things off? Friend passed me on the street in the street without speaking to me. B. Beliefs about A. He's ignoring me. He doesn't like me. I could end up without friends forever. That would be terrible. For me to be happy and feel worthwhile, people must like me. I'm unacceptable as a friend. So I must be a worthless person. C. Reaction. Feelings, worthless, depressed. Behaviors, avoiding people generally. Now, someone who thought differently about the same event would react in another way. A. What started things off? Friend passed me in the street without speaking to me. B. Beliefs about A. He didn't ignore me deliberately. He may not have seen me. He might have something on his mind. I'd like to help if I can. Reaction, C, reaction. Feelings, concerned. Behaviors, went to visit friend to see how he is. These examples show how different ways of viewing the same event can lead to different reactions. The same principle operates in reverse when people react alike. It is because they are thinking in similar ways. And that, and that rule stands especially like when you're texting somebody. Like if you're in a pissed off mood about something and you're reading somebody's text, that can definitely, run over into somebody texting you and you're reading it in a pissed off way because you're in a pissed off mood. So,
the other morning I'm going to work and my neighbor around the corner, I had something on my mind. I was thinking about something I had to do at work and all, and I always waved to him all the time. We always go out of our way to give a goofy wave or say something silly. And I drove right by his house. I'm like, holy shit, I hope he wasn't sitting out there because I wasn't even thinking. And if I drove by and didn't wave to him, I was going to think I'm mad at him or something. So it's funny that you said that. And I'm looking in the mirror and I don't see him. I think I'm good.
Yeah, and it's weird how our brain can take us to these places. It's just so weird. The rules we live by. What we tell ourselves in specific situations depends on the rules we hold. Everyone has a set of general rules. Some will be rational, others will be self-defeating or irrational. Each person's set is different. Most subconscious, these rules determine how we react to life. When an event triggers off a train of thought, what we consciously think depends on the general rules we subconsciously apply to the event. Let us say that you hold the general rule. To be worthwhile, I must succeed at everything I do. You happen to fail an examination, an event which coupled with the underlying rule leads you to the conclusion, I'm not worthwhile. Underlying rules are generalizations. One rule can apply to many situations. If you believe, for example, I can't stand discomfort and pain and must avoid them at all costs, you might apply this to the dentist, to work, to relationships, and to life in general. Why be concerned about your rules? While most will be valid and helpful, some will be self-defeating. Faulty rules will lead to faulty conclusions. Take the rule. If I am to feel okay about myself, others must like and approve of me. Let us say that your boss tells you off. You may rightly think, he is angry with me, but you may wrongly conclude, this proves I'm a failure, and changing the situation, for instance, getting your boss to like you, would still leave the underlying rule untouched. It would then be there to bother you whenever some future event triggered it off. Most self-defeating rules are a variation of one or other of the 12 self-defeating beliefs listed at the end of this article. Take a look at this list now. Which ones do you identify with? Which are the ones that guide your reactions? What are self-defeating beliefs? To describe a belief as self-defeating or irrational is to say that you can go.
1, it distorts reality. It's a misinterpretation of what's happening. Or it involves some illogical ways of evaluating yourself, others, and the world around you. Awfulizing, can't stand it, demanding, and people rating. 2, it blocks you from achieving your goals and purposes. 3, it creates extreme emotions which persist and will distress and immobilize. And it leads to behaviors that harm yourself, others, and your life in general. Boom, 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 boom. 4 ways to screw yourself up. Let me get a highlighter. These are 4 typical ways of thinking that will make you feel bad or behave in a dysfunctional ways. 1, awfulizing, using words like awful, terrible, horrible, catastrophic to describe something. Example, it would be terrible if it's the worst thing that could happen. That would be the end of the world. Can't stand it. 2, viewing an event or experience is unbearable. Example, I can't stand it. It's absolutely unbearable. I'll die if I get rejected. 3, demanding, using shoulds, moralizing, or musts. I ain't saying that word.
Masturbating.
I ain't saying that word. Eric, there's one for you, buddy.
Masturbating.
I never saw that word.
I can see Larry and Eric now.
I should not have done that. I must not fail. I need to be loved. I have to have a drink. Oh my gosh, that derailed me. Number 4, people rating, labeling or rating your total self or someone else's. Example, I'm stupid, hopeless, useless. I'm a worthless masturbator. That works as good. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it just thrown him right off the rail.
Oh man, I can't.
Rational thinking.
You better take over.
Rational thinking presents a vivid contrast to its illogical opposite. It is based on reality. It emphasizes seeing things as they really are, keeping their badness in perspective, tolerating frustration and discomfort, preferring rather than demanding, and self-acceptance. It helps you achieve your goals and purposes. It creates emotions you can handle, and it helps you behave in ways which promote your aims and survival. We're not talking about so-called positive thinking. Rational thinking is realistic thinking. It is concerned with facts, the real world, rather than subjective opinion or wishful thinking. Realistic thinking leads to realistic emotions. Negative feelings aren't always bad for you, neither are all positive feelings beneficial. Feeling happy when someone you love has died, for example, may hinder you from grieving properly, or to be unconcerned in the face of real danger could put your survival at risk. Realistic thinking avoids exaggeration of both kinds, negative and positive. So, anybody have any questions or anything at this moment, please feel free to pop into the comments.
We got 15 minutes if you have any questions tonight. We're going to be a little short tonight.
Yes. So,
Bringing the bands in. Got to keep the lights on in this place.
yeah, so the techniques of change. How does one actually set about achieving self-control and choice? The best place to start is by learning how to identify the thoughts and beliefs which cause your problems. Next, learn how to apply this knowledge by analyzing specific episodes where you feel and behave in the ways you would like to change. It is most effective to do this in writing at first, and later it will become easier to do in your head. You connect whatever started things off, your reaction, and the thoughts which came in between. You then check out those thoughts and change the self-defeating ones. This method, called rational self-analysis, uses the ABC approach described earlier, extended to include sections for setting a goal or new desired effect, E, disputing and changing beliefs, D, and finally further action to put those changes into practice, F. The final step is important. You will get there faster when you put into action what you have changed in your mind. Let us say you decide to stop feeling guilty when you do something for yourself. The next step is to do it. Spend an hour a day reading a novel, purchase some new clothes, have coffee with a friend or a weekend away.
Coffee with Barb.
Have coffee with a friend or a weekend away without the family. Do things you would previously have regarded as undeserved. Overcoming obstacles. While change is possible, it is not easy, mainly because of a very human tendency known as low discomfort tolerance. Most of us want to be physically and emotionally comfortable, but personal change means giving up some old habits and thinking and behaving and safe ways of approaching life. Most of us want to be physically and emotionally comfortable, but personal change means giving up some old habits of thinking and behaving and safe ways of approaching life. Whereas before you may have blamed others for your problems, now you start to take responsibility for yourself and what you want. You risk new ways of thinking and acting. You step out into the unknown. This could increase your stress and emotional pain temporarily. In other words, you may feel worse before you feel better. Telling yourself that you can't stand it could lead you to avoid change. You might decide to stick with the way things are, unpleasant though it is. You know you would be better off in the long run, but you choose to avoid the extra pain now. Or you might look for a quick solution. Do you hope that somewhere there's a fancy therapy which will cure you straight away?
I think a lot of people look for that fancy therapy, something different, that's going to be the magic bullet, and then really, and you're not putting your whole heart into the recovery, and you feel like the system failed you.
Right. And you want the quick solution.
Right.
Everybody wants the quick solution. Without you having to do anything, I meet many people who try therapist after therapist, but never stay with one approach long enough to learn anything that will help. They still live in hope, though, and often get a brief boost from meeting new therapists or therapy groups. As well as fearing discomfort, you may also worry that you won't be a real person. You think that you will end up pretending to feel and behave in new ways and imagine yourself as false or phony. Somehow it seems to choose how you feel seems less than human. So-
that was interesting.
Yes.
That last line.
You are, though, already choosing your reactions, even though you may not be fully aware of doing so. And using conscious choice is what sets humans apart from instinct-bound animals. It also what makes you a unique person, different to every other. So give up the notion that it is false and machine-like to use your brain to avoid bad feelings. Getting depressed, worried, and desperate does not make you more human. You might worry that learning self-control will make you cold and unemotional with no feelings at all. This common fear is quite misguided. The opposite is true. If you learn how to handle strong feelings, you will be less afraid of them. This will free you to experience a fuller range of emotions than before. While self-improvement may be hard, it is achievable. The blocks I have described are self-created. There's nothing more than beliefs. Ideas you can change using practical techniques you can learn. Rational thinking is not just academic theory. People from a wide range of social and educational backgrounds have already used it successfully. You will be able to as well. It is true that human beings start life with a biologic predisposition to irrational thinking, which they then add to by learning new and harmful ways of behaving and viewing life. But there is a positive side to human nature. We also have the ability to think about our beliefs and change the dysfunctional ones. What about problems you can't sort out on your own? Some outside help may be a useful supplement to your self-help efforts. Whether or not you have such help, though, taking responsibility for your feelings and actions will be the key to success. You will also need some hard work and perseverance, but happily by learning how to identify the change self-defeating beliefs and attitudes. These things can be within your control and happiness within your reach. Let me see, do we have time to blow through this? We might be able to get through. From self-defeat to rational living, self-defeating beliefs. I need love and approval from those significant to me, and I must avoid disapproval from any source. 2. To be worthwhile as a person, I must succeed at whatever I do and make no mistakes. People should always do the right thing. When they behave obnoxiously, unfairly, or selfishly, they must be blamed and punished. Things must be the way I want them to be, otherwise life will be intolerable. My unhappiness is caused by things outside of my control, so there is little I can do to feel any better. I must worry about things that could be dangerous, unpleasant, or frightening, otherwise they might happen. I can be happier by avoiding life's difficulties, unpleasantness, and responsibilities. Everyone needs to depend on someone stronger than themselves. Events in my past are the cause of my problems, and they continue to influence my feelings and behaviors now. I should become upset when other people have problems and feel unhappy when they're sad. I should not have to feel discomfort, and pain. I can't stand them and must avoid them at all costs. Every problem should have an ideal solution, and it is intolerable when they can't be found. And the next 12 rational beliefs. Love and approval are good things to have, and I'll seek them when I can. But they are not necessities. I can survive even though uncomfortably without them. I'll always seek to achieve as much as I can, but unfailing success and competence is unrealistic. Better I just accept myself as a person separate from my performance. It's unfortunate that people sometimes do bad things, but humans are not yet perfect, and upsetting myself won't change the reality. There is no law which says that things have to be the way I want. It's disappointing, but I can stand it, especially if I avoid catastrophizing. Many external factors are outside my control, but it is my thoughts, not the externals, which cause my feelings, and I can learn to control my thoughts. Worrying about things that might go wrong won't stop them from happening. It will, though, ensure I get upset and disturbed right now. Avoiding problems is only easier in the short term. Putting things off can make them worse later on. It also gives me more time to worry about them. Relying on someone else can lead to dependent behavior. It is okay to seek help as long as I learn to trust myself and my own judgment. The past can't influence me now. My current beliefs cause my reactions. I may have learned these beliefs in the past, but I can choose to analyze and change them in the present. I can't change other people's problems and bad feelings by getting myself upset. Why should I, in particular, not feel discomfort and pain? I don't like them, but I can stand it. Also, my life would be very restricted if I always avoided discomfort. Problems usually have many possible solutions. It is better to stop waiting for the perfect one and get on with the best available. I can live with less than an ideal. So, that was section 3 of Smart Recovery, Family, and Friends. Again, if you are interested, go to smartrecovery.org. Go to resources and shop. They have many videos that you can also watch. It's like going to a meeting, I guess, you could say. And there's many tools in there. There's many worksheets that you can print out and work on yourself. Your loved ones can work on themselves. And hopefully you guys can come together and live a much better life together. So, Barb, hopefully one Saturday we'll get up there and have coffee with you. I hope you guys are liking what you're hearing lately. I'm going to continue to go through this as long as you feel that it's helping you somehow. If you could pop over to Facebook on Living Hopeful, so that you can pop in there and let me know how you're liking this series of Smart Recovery, Family, and Friends. Your feedback is what's going to help me figure out where to go from here. So this was section 3 of a 14-part series. So everybody, I'm sorry it's a quick show tonight. We'll figure things out as we get scheduling done, and stop putting that in your eye. But everybody have a happy week. If you guys are struggling, please reach out 267-737-8031. I'm always here to listen. I'm always here to help give suggestions. But everybody have a great week. We will see you here next Friday for section 4, ABC REBT. Good night, everybody. Recovery works if you work it. Sorry, he had to go move the car. Good night, everybody. See you next Friday.